Justin Bieber stands under the soft glow of the studio lights, his voice steady yet filled with emotion as he begins to talk about what everyone has been waiting for. The whispers, the rumors, the quiet promises of a new tour, a new chapter in a career that has already written itself into pop music history. And yet here he is, raw, open, reflective, ready to connect with the people who have grown with him from his earliest YouTube covers to sold-out arenas. And now, once again, fans across the world lean forward waiting for every word, because when Justin speaks about his journey, it feels like more than music. It feels like a shared story of growing up in public, of finding peace after chaos, of rediscovering purpose through art and faith. And this time he talks not about pressure or expectation, but about love. Love for the stage, love for the fans, and love for the moments that make him feel alive. And as he teases details about possible touring plans, his voice carries that familiar warmth that reminds everyone why he's still one of the most loved performers on earth. But his story is not just his own. It's part of a larger tapestry of artists who have learned to transform pain into purpose, from Taylor Swift, who turned heartbreak into empowerment and turned her re-recorded albums into anthems of ownership and freedom, to Selena Gomez, whose resilience and advocacy for mental health have made her a global symbol of strength. These artists stand side by side in a new era where vulnerability is not weakness, but the bridge that connects artists to their audiences in ways deeper than ever before. And as Justin shares stories about rehearsals, creative sessions, and new sounds he's been experimenting with, there's a spark of excitement like the one fans felt when he first released songs like Sorry and Love Yourself, hits that weren't just music but reflections of transformation and growth. And while he opens up about what it feels like to step back into the rhythm of touring after years of self-discovery, it's impossible not to see the evolution. The boy who once sang Baby to stadiums filled with screaming fans is now a man grounded in gratitude, humbled by the highs and lows and determined to give his best once again. But beyond the stage, there's also the human side of Justin. The man who balances fame with family, who has learned that healing takes time, who leans on faith and friendship, and who finds purpose, not just in records sold, but in lives touched. And his fans feel that sincerity every time he speaks. They've seen him fall and rise, and they love him for the honesty that comes with every word, every song, every silence. And as the world buzzes about his upcoming music, there's something different this time. An air of maturity, a calm confidence that can only come from someone who has faced everything from criticism to adoration and come out the other side not bitter, but better. And when he talks about touring again, it's not about proving anything. It's about sharing energy, sharing love, creating memories that will live forever. And that's what makes this era of Justin Bieber so special, because it's not about perfection, it's about connection, and he's not alone in this evolution. Artists around the world are doing the same, redefining fame through kindness and authenticity. From Harry Styles spreading messages of love and acceptance to Ariana Grande using her voice for healing after unimaginable challenges, to Billie Eilish, whose fearless individuality has inspired millions to embrace themselves as they are, and even global icons like Beyoncé and Rihanna continue to show that true power lies in reinvention, in lifting others while growing yourself. And somewhere in that same universe of artistry stands Justin, ready to reclaim his stage, his sound, his story, not as a comeback, but as a continuation, a new chapter of the same heart that's always been there, beating beneath the fame, beneath the headlines. And what's remarkable is how he continues to evolve, not just musically, but personally, finding balance between his spiritual life, his marriage, and his mission to make a positive impact through everything he does, from supporting charities to speaking openly about mental health and love. And in that way, his journey mirrors the evolution of an entire generation of artists who have learned that greatness is not measured by numbers, but by meaning. And so when Justin hints that he's ready to tour again, it feels less like an announcement and more like a homecoming, because he's not chasing validation. He's returning to where his soul feels free on stage, surrounded by lights and voices that remind him of why he started all those years ago. And it's in those moments that music becomes more than melody. It becomes memory, a shared heartbeat between artist and audience. And that is the magic that continues to define Justin Bieber's legacy, because long before the charts and accolades, it was always about that feeling of connection, that spark that made a kid from Stratford, Ontario dream big enough to reach the world. And now, as he stands on the edge of another era, it feels like the beginning all over again. And as Justin continues to open up about what touring means to him, he reflects on how the energy of live performance is something no studio or screen can ever replicate. Because for him, the stage is not just a platform, it's a place of healing. A space where he feels closest to his fans and to himself. It's where the noise fades and only music remains pure, unfiltered, and powerful. And as he teases songs that explore love, redemption, and faith, there's a growing sense that this next chapter isn't just about sound, it's about spirit. And he's not alone in this renaissance of rediscovery, because across the entertainment world, artists are doing the same, stepping into new eras that celebrate truth over trend. Take Taylor Swift, for example, whose Eras Tour has become a cultural phenomenon, blending storytelling with spectacle. Each show not just a concert, but a journey through her evolution. From a young dreamer with a guitar to a global icon whose pen rewrote the language of pop music, her courage to reclaim her masters and redefine artistic ownership has inspired musicians everywhere, proving that standing up for yourself can spark change across an entire industry. And in a similar spirit, Zendaya has emerged as one of the most powerful voices of her generation, moving from Disney beginnings to Emmy-winning performances and global fashion influence. She's shown that grace and intelligence can coexist beautifully. Her collaborations with brands like Valentino and Bulgari are more than fashion. They're statements of empowerment. They reflect how authenticity has become the new luxury, and as she continues to inspire young women around the world, she also mirrors the same values Justin carries, about staying grounded while chasing dreams. Because fame can be fleeting, but purpose lasts forever. And when we look at artists like Bad Bunny, we see how individuality and cultural pride can transform music on a global scale. Breaking records while refusing to be confined by genre, he reminds fans everywhere that art is freedom and representation matters. And in his unapologetic creativity, we find echoes of Justin's own fearless experimentation, because both artists in their own way are redefining what global pop stardom looks like, blending innovation with intention. And then there's Selena Gomez, whose story intertwines with Justin's, not just through their shared past, but through their shared humanity. Her journey from child star to global advocate for mental health has made her a symbol of resilience. Her rare beauty brand and her docuseries have opened conversations about vulnerability and self-worth, and that willingness to be open to show imperfections as strength connects deeply with what Justin has been preaching through his music, faith, and honesty, because they both learned that being seen for who you truly are matters more than being adored for who you pretend to be. And while these artists continue to shape culture, we also see a broader wave of stars who use fame not as armor, but as a tool for impact, like Rihanna, who turned her artistry into a movement of inclusivity. Her Fenty empire has transformed the beauty and fashion industries, proving that representation is power, and like Beyoncé, who continues to elevate music into cultural history, her albums are not just sounds, they're statements about heritage, excellence, and legacy. And in each of their stories, there's a lesson that aligns with Justin's current era. That evolution isn't about leaving behind who you were, but embracing who you've become. And in that sense, Justin's reflection about touring again feels like an emotional renewal. Not for fame, but for connection. For purpose, for joy, because he understands now more than ever that fans don't just want songs, they want sincerity. And when he shares his heart, whether through lyrics or live streams, it resonates far beyond the charts because people crave truth. And his ability to turn his struggles into songs of hope continues to make him one of the most relatable figures in music today. And as he speaks about working with new producers, exploring fresh sounds, and possibly bringing old collaborators back. For this next project, fans can't help but imagine another transformative era. Maybe one that blends the raw emotion of journals, the maturity of changes, and the optimism of justice, creating something timeless, yet new. Something that captures where he is now as a man, an artist, and a believer. And as he talks about his touring plans, he mentions how much he's missed the people, the faces, the energy, the shared emotion, because to him, music is a conversation, not a monologue, and that is what defines artists like him and others who use their voices to connect across boundaries. It's the same reason Ed Sheeran still writes songs that sound like conversations with friends, or why Billie Eilish whispers truth into melodies that make millions feel seen, or why Bruno Mars channels nostalgia into modern joy. Music at its core is empathy. And in this era of streaming screens and social media, it's easy to forget that. But Justin hasn't, because his faith and his fans keep him grounded, reminding him that beyond the fame, he's just a man with a message, and that message has always been love in all its forms. Love for life, for people, for creation. And that's why this possible tour feels so special, because it's not about spectacle. It's about soul. It's a celebration of healing and homecoming, a reunion between artist and audience, and somewhere between those moments of planning and dreaming lies the heartbeat of everything that makes Justin Bieber one of the defining voices of his generation. And as Justin Bieber's touring dreams start to feel more real, fans around the world can sense that something powerful is coming. A revival not just of concerts, but of connection, the kind that music creates when it wraps itself around hearts and memories. Because when you think about what touring really means, it's not just bright lights or massive arenas. It's about the people who show up, the families who travel cities away, the friends who reunite after years, all to share a few hours of pure energy and emotion. And Justin knows that better than anyone. He's seen the highs and lows of fame, and he's grown from the kid who sang Baby into the man who speaks about faith, love, and healing. And in this next era, his music promises to carry that message even further. But this kind of evolution isn't something unique to him. It's something shared by artists across generations and countries. People who've learned that the stage can be a place of truth. Harry Styles, for example, who began as part of One Direction and then redefined himself as a solo artist, is proof of how growth can be both personal and artistic. His album Fine Line wasn't just about songs. It was a statement of freedom, fluidity, and fearless creativity. His tours turned into celebrations of self-expression where fans could wear what they want, love who they love, and dance without judgment. And that's the kind of inclusive energy that artists like Justin admire, because it's about using the spotlight to spread acceptance, not pressure. And when Harry stepped into the world of fashion, collaborating with Gucci and challenging gender norms, he didn't just make headlines. He made history, creating space for individuality to thrive. The same can be said for Dua Lipa, who turned her pop star dream into a global phenomenon, with her sharp sound, confident stage presence, and empowering lyrics. Her fashion collaborations with brands like Versace and YSL are bold declarations of strength and self-assurance, proving that confidence isn't about arrogance. It's about owning your story. And as Dua continues to push artistic boundaries, she reminds fans that it's okay to reinvent yourself, to start fresh, and to never stop dreaming. And then there's Shawn Mendes, another artist whose journey mirrors Justin's in many ways, because both started young, both faced the chaos of fame, and both had to learn what it means to find peace amidst the noise. Shawn's openness about mental health, his decision to pause his tour and focus on healing, sent a powerful message to millions that taking care of yourself is not weakness, it's wisdom. And just like Justin, he's using his platform to show that vulnerability is strength. Their paths, though separate, intertwine in purpose, both proving that artistry is not about perfection, it's about honesty. And as Justin prepares to tour again, he's also thinking about the new generation of performers rising with that same spirit, like Olivia Rodrigo, who channeled heartbreak into a voice for millions. Her brutal honesty, her storytelling, and her youth all remind the world of how raw truth in music can resonate far louder than any marketing plan or trend. And on the other side of the world, artists like BTS have shown how music can transcend languages and cultures. Their journey from humble beginnings to international dominance is more than a success story. It's an anthem of unity. Their messages about self-love, mental health, and perseverance have inspired fans from every corner of the planet. And that same spirit of global connection is what Justin is drawn to, as he speaks about wanting his new music to touch lives not just in America, but everywhere. Because music to him has no borders. It's the universal language of feeling and faith. And as he talks about touring, there's this spark in his eyes, the same one you see when he's talking about Hailey, about his marriage, and how her love and stability anchor him through chaos. She's been the quiet strength in his journey, always reminding him of who he truly is. And that balance between fame and family, between stage lights and spirituality, defines this next era for him. It's not about running from fame or chasing it. It's about walking in peace within it. And that's a mindset we see reflected in so many others. From Selena Gomez, who's found her own rhythm in life through advocacy and art, to Miley Cyrus, who reinvented herself time and time again, proving that evolution is the essence of endurance. And then there's the ever-graceful Beyoncé, whose Renaissance World Tour reminded everyone that artistry at its highest level isn't about ego, it's about legacy. Every performance, every look, every lyric crafted with intention to uplift and inspire. And when Justin mentions touring, he's not just talking about concerts, he's talking about building an experience, something that fans will carry in their hearts long after the lights go down. Something similar to how Taylor Swift's Eras tour became a living scrapbook of her life. Her music, her emotions transforming every show into a shared memory between artist and audience. And like Taylor, Justin understands that what people truly connect to is authenticity. Because when you stand in truth, the world listens. And even artists outside of music have echoed that message. Actors like Zendaya who blend talent with humility, proving that being genuine never goes out of style, or philanthropists like Angelina Jolie, who turned fame into a force for good, using her platform to fight for human rights and global causes. These are the stories that remind us that fame, when aligned with purpose, can be beautiful. And as Justin shares his excitement about recording new material, his fans feel a mixture of anticipation and pride, because they've seen his evolution, they've witnessed the boy become a man, the superstar become a soul searcher, and now the artist become an example of growth, grace, and gratitude. His talk of touring feels like a promise, not just of music, but of connection, of renewal. And as he continues to reveal snippets from the studio, fans everywhere are bracing themselves for something special. Something that blends nostalgia with rebirth, sound with sincerity. And that's the magic that keeps the world listening, keeps hearts open, keeps hope alive. Because when artists like Justin step back into the spotlight with honesty and love, they don't just perform, they heal, they inspire. They remind us all that no matter how far we go or how much we change, the truest melodies are the ones that come from within. And as the conversation around Justin's touring plans deepens, it starts to spark a wider reflection across the entertainment world about what it truly means to perform, to give a part of yourself to the crowd and still hold on to who you are behind the stage. Because for Justin, this new chapter isn't about chasing charts or breaking records. It's about rediscovering purpose. And in that sense, he's not alone. You can see it in the evolution of artists like Ariana Grande, whose journey from a Nickelodeon star to one of the most powerful voices of her generation has been a masterclass in reinvention. She's weathered storms, faced unimaginable tragedy, and still stood strong, using her music as both a shield and a bridge between pain and healing. Her songs, from Dangerous Woman to Positions, show a woman who has learned that vulnerability is not weakness, but truth. And that is exactly the energy that Justin is channeling too. And when you look at The Weeknd, you see another artist who's turned his pain into poetry, his mysterious persona, his dark yet beautiful lyrics. They all tell the story of someone who turned loneliness into art. And his world tours are more than concerts. They're cinematic experiences. Every light, every note, every beat perfectly crafted to transport audiences into a world of emotion and creativity. Justin sees that same kind of dedication as something to aspire to. Because artistry isn't about showing off, it's about showing up. Fully and authentically, Billie Eilish embodies that too, breaking every convention with her whispery vocals, oversized fashion, and unapologetic self-expression. She made it cool to be real, to be imperfect, to be human. And when she talks about struggling with fame or body image, fans listen because she doesn't sugarcoat it. She turns honesty into strength, and that's exactly what connects artists like her and Justin. Both of them choosing to be open, even when it's uncomfortable. And then you have Blackpink representing a wave of global power and confidence, showing that language and borders don't limit connection. Their rise from humble beginnings in South Korea to selling out arenas worldwide is proof that talent plus persistence can move mountains. Their dedication, their discipline, and their ability to blend individuality into unity is awe-inspiring. And in many ways, it mirrors Justin's own evolution, from a small-town boy with a dream to a global figure who learned that fame is fleeting, but impact lasts forever. And when you think of artists like Rihanna, who took control of her narrative, becoming not only a musical icon, but a fashion and beauty mogul, you realize that the new generation of performers isn't just about entertainment, it's about empowerment. Her Fenty brand changed the industry, proving that inclusion and representation are not trends, but necessities. And her journey reminds us that the most powerful thing a celebrity can do is use their success to open doors for others. And as Justin speaks about wanting his new music to reflect maturity, you can almost feel that he's been inspired by artists like her, who have turned growth into a lifestyle and legacy. And in that same breath, we can't ignore the quiet resilience of Ed Sheeran, who has built his empire not through scandals or spectacle, but through sincerity. His songs like Perfect and Shape of You became global anthems because they came from real emotions, and that's The beauty of storytelling in music. It crosses cultures, generations, and experiences, uniting people through feeling. And as Justin hints at his new songs, fans start wondering if they'll carry that same raw truth, that same stripped-down honesty that made his early work so magnetic, because it's that connection between artist and audience that defines true longevity. Look at Taylor Swift. Her Eras tour became more than just a concert. It became a celebration of identity, of growth, of reclaiming your own story, and Justin understands that completely, because he too has been writing his own chapters, each filled with love, faith, pain, and redemption, and even actors like Zendaya have shown that staying grounded while navigating fame is possible. She's balanced blockbuster roles with authenticity, staying humble while inspiring millions. And that authenticity is what audiences crave today, because people don't just want entertainment, they want meaning, they want to feel seen, understood, and valued. And as Justin plans his future tours, it's clear that he wants to give exactly that, something deeper than just a show. Something healing, something beautiful, that reflects not only who he's become, but also the kind of world he wants to help create. And part of that inspiration also comes from his faith, and from seeing people like Selena Gomez use their platforms to advocate for mental health awareness, for kindness, and for inner peace. Her journey from heartbreak to self-love has inspired so many, and it's a reminder that healing is a lifelong process, not a single moment. And that's a lesson Justin has learned too. He's no longer running from the past. He's embracing it, transforming it into art and hope. And as we move through this era of celebrity storytelling, we can't help but notice how artists from all corners of the globe are using their voices for more than fame. From Maluma, bringing Latin culture to international stages, to Rosalia blending flamenco roots with modern pop, to Burna Boy introducing Afrofusion to millions. These artists are rewriting the global soundtrack, and their journeys all share one thing in common: authenticity, that universal truth that connects Justin's story to theirs. And when he speaks about music now, there's a humility to his tone, a softness that suggests he's finally found peace with his purpose. He's not the teenage heartthrob anymore. He's an artist, a husband, a believer, a man who understands that the stage is a gift, not a trap. And that's what makes this next era of his career so special. Because it's not about proving anything. It's about giving everything. It's about gratitude. It's about grace. And as he continues to share glimpses of studio sessions, the world waits, knowing that whatever comes next will be more than music. It will be a message, and that is something truly worth listening for. And as the story unfolds and the whispers of Justin's new era grow louder, it becomes more than just an update about music or touring. It becomes a symbol of evolution and emotional courage, because for years fans have seen him at his highest and lowest moments. They've witnessed the world praise him, then criticize him, then embrace him again. And through it all, there has always been this thread of truth running through his journey. The truth that growth takes time and peace takes intention. And now, as he steps toward the possibility of touring again, it feels different. It feels healing. It feels like a homecoming. Not just for him, but for everyone who has grown up alongside his music, because Justin's songs have always been more than hits. They've been chapters in people's lives, from Baby to Love Yourself to Peaches. Each song marking a time, a memory, a feeling, and this next one, whatever it becomes, feels destined to carry the weight of reflection and gratitude. And as we think about where he's come from, it's impossible not to think about the many artists who've walked similar roads, because fame is a mirror, and each star reflects a different part of the human story. Take Lady Gaga, for instance, who transformed from pop provocateur to Oscar-winning powerhouse, blending boldness with vulnerability. Her message has always been that self-expression is a form of freedom, and that's something Justin has embraced too. The idea that authenticity isn't about perfection. It's about presence, and that's what draws fans to him again and again and across the globe. Artists are embracing that message too, from Shakira, who continues to inspire generations with her strength and artistry, to Bad Bunny, who redefines masculinity and creativity with every performance, to Adele, who reminds the world that heartbreak can bloom into beauty. Every one of these artists carries a story of struggle, resilience, and rebirth, and together they form a tapestry of inspiration that fans around the world find comfort in. And Justin is right there among them, standing not as a legend above them, but as a man among them, open, honest, and unafraid to feel. And it's that emotional honesty that defines this new phase. He's not trying to chase trends. He's trying to chase truth. He wants to tour, not to prove he can, but because he wants to connect again. He wants to feel that spark that happens when thousands of voices sing together, not as strangers, but as one. And that is where music becomes magic. It's where the walls between artist and audience dissolve, and everyone remembers why they fell in love with the sound in the first place. And even beyond music, this moment for Justin represents something deeper. It's about balance, about faith, about gratitude for the lessons that shaped him and the people who stood by him through every storm. And you see echoes of that in other industries too, in actors like Ryan Reynolds, who uses humor and humility to navigate fame, or in Blake Lively, whose grace and strength continue to make her one of the most beloved figures in Hollywood. Their ability to stay grounded while thriving in such an intense world mirrors what Justin has learned to do, because, in the end, fame isn't a destination, it's a test of character. And when you see how far he's come, it's clear he's passed with growth and grace. And in fashion worlds, we see similar stories like Zendaya's transformation into a global style icon who uses her platform for inclusivity, or Timothée Chalamet, who turns vulnerability into quiet confidence. Their careers, like Justin's, remind us that authenticity never goes out of style. And then there are the global icons who use their voices to uplift others, like Beyoncé, whose dedication to empowerment continues to redefine performance art, or Taylor Swift, who has turned personal storytelling into a universal language. And through it all, we see this shared heartbeat between artists from every corner of the world, a rhythm of resilience, compassion, and reinvention. And as Justin stands on the verge of releasing new music, perhaps preparing for a new tour, there's a calmness to his spirit that says he's finally at peace with who he is. The kid who once sang in the streets of Stratford is now a man ready to stand on stages again. Not to escape reality, but to celebrate it. And that's what makes this moment so special, because for all the fame, all the lights, all the noise, it always comes back to the same thing, the music and the people. And as he leans into this next era, surrounded by love, supported by fans, and anchored by faith, the world can't help but cheer him on, because we all know that no matter how high the highs or how deep the lows, the melody continues and the heart keeps beating. And for Justin Bieber, that beat has never sounded stronger, never sounded more real, never sounded more human. And in that truth, there's hope for all of us. Because if he can rise after falling, if he can find light after darkness, if he can choose love after pain, then so can we. And that's the beauty of his story. It's not just a celebrity tale. It's a reflection of life itself, full of lessons, laughter, faith, and endless possibility. And as the lights dim and the music swells, we know this isn't the end. It's just another beginning, and the world is ready to listen. If you love celebrity stories, Hollywood news, inspirational journeys, and behind-the-scenes moments that feel personal, hit like, comment, and subscribe to stay connected with more positive and emotional celebrity documentaries.